الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الحمد لله الذي ليس كمثله شيء وهو فتاح العليم نحمده تعالى وهو جل وعلا ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا مولانا محمدا عبد الله ورسوله بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة فجزاه الله عنا وعن كل المسلمين خيرا اللهم فصل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد عبدك ورسولك النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا أما بعد رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي رب زدني علما والحقني بالصالحين سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم. My dear respected elders, brothers and sisters and fellow children, in a little more than 24 hours from now, the world will once again usher in a new year. But the feeling this time round is a bit different. It is not so much of a celebratory atmosphere as it is a somber one. For people across the world are trying to wrap their heads around what really happened in 2016. For we all know on a personal level that what transpired in the last 12 months is something that we couldn't have imagined in the worst of our nightmares. And here we stand today moving forward, not knowing what the future holds. So it's imperative that we look back into the annals of history and find out that previous nations did end up where we did. For everyone has a dream and a path that they have sought out for themselves, but no one reaches their destination with ease. There's always hurdles along the path. So surely we will find when people hit the wall, what they did, why they did it, and how it took them forward. But before I go to those examples, I want you all for a second to imagine. Imagine a life wherein you didn't have to worry about the daily grind, about hustling and making sure that you made your ends meet in order to maintain a roof over your family's head. Imagine you could travel wherever you wanted to, whenever you wanted to, without any restrictions or visas or traffic. Imagine a world where weather never dampened your plans, where it never hindered what you wanted to do. The weather was always conducive. And imagine a world wherein you could have access to the best of foods at all times. I'm sure you'll tell me in response, this is just a fantasy. And it ain't happening. It's impossible. It's a good dream to have, but it's not going to happen. Because our technology right now in the 21st century has only taken us so far. The fastest mode of transportation that's in the works is the one that will take you from Dubai to Abu Dhabi in a mere 12 minutes, known as the Hyperloop, which will be up and running in 5 years at a pace of 1,200 kilometers per hour. That's the fastest we could move. What if I was to tell you this is not a fantasy? This isn't a dream, but it was once a reality on the same earth that you and I reside on. And I can prove it to you from the Holy Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us of nations before us. They had it all. They had it all. But what happened? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in surah number 34, verse number 15 to 19, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, لَقَدْ كَانَ لِسَبَإٍ فِي مَسْكَنِهِمْ آيَةٌ جَنَّتَانِ عَنْ يَمِينٍ وَشِمَالٍ. They were the people known as the people of Saba. It was all going right for them. They didn't have to go out in the wee hours of the morning to get to work and make a paycheck, to pay the mortgage and the bills, to ensure that they had a livelihood. They had it all for them. Lush gardens on to their right and to the left. They had food accessible to eat right now, and they had plenty more for reserves tomorrow. What was the catch? كُلُوا مِن رِزْقِ رَبِّكُمْ وَاشْكُرُوا لَهُ. Eat from whatever Allah has given you. Benefit from the blessings that Allah has bestowed upon you, but just be grateful. بَلْدَةٌ طَيِّبَةٌ وَرَبٌّ غَفُورٌ. So there was a world where people didn't have to worry about toiling day and night. What about travel? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَجَعَلْنَا بَيْنَهُمْ وَبَيْنَ الْقُرَى الَّتِي بَارَكْنَا فِيهَا قُرًى ظَاهِرَةً وَقَدَّرْنَا فِيهَا السَّيْرَ سِيرُوا فِيهَا لَيَالِيَ وَأَيَّامٍ آمِنِينَ. They could travel wherever they wanted to travel, whenever they wanted to travel. If you want to go to San Francisco, you have to jump on a plane or you have to get on the road. But for them, they would see San Francisco in front of their eyes, and they would take a few steps and they were there. Again, another blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that was bestowed on people before you and I. We turn to the people of Musa alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says regarding them, وَظَلَّلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْغَمَامُ وَأَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْمَنَّ وَالسَّلْوَى. Wherever they went, the cloud shaded them. They didn't have to worry about UV protection. They didn't have to worry about the wind and the rain. They had conducive climate at all times. And not only that, Allah sent down for them food from heaven. And they could eat from it whenever they wanted to. So all four things that I told you to imagine were a reality at one time. Imagine you were blessed with those blessings. Now imagine if you hated the fact that you were blessed with those blessings. Imagine that you hated the fact that you wake up in the morning and you don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to make sure that the bills were paid. You hated that fact. Imagine the fact that you wish that your travels were long and strenuous and tiresome. You'd say you're crazy. How could you imagine that? But that's exactly what they did. The people of Saba said, فَقَالُوا يَا رَبَّنَا بَاعِدْ بَيْنَ أَسْفَارِنَا. Oh Allah, make our journeys long. We don't like this. that we could travel with ease, make it long. We want to feel the fatigue and the exhaustion and the pain. We want to feel our feet swell up and that we're tired because of journey. The people of Musa went to him and said, we're done with this man in salwa. It's too much, same old food. Ask Allah for lentils and onions and garlic. And here Musa is scratching his head. أَتَسْتَبْدِلُونَ الَّذِي هُوَ أَدْنَى بِالَّذِي هُوَ خَيْرٌ. Let me get this right. You want to substitute what you have right now with something which is lesser of a degree? Are you sure? Are you sure about this? How did they get to this point? How did they come to this point that they became those who asked for other? 2 reasons. Number 1, they became negligent of what Allah bestowed upon them. And that drove them to a sense of complacency. And in return, it made them ungrateful. Remember what Allah said. Be thankful. But they didn't become thankful. They took those blessings for granted. So their complacency due to their negligence led them to being ungrateful. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا ظَلَمُونَا. We didn't transgress upon them. وَلَكِنْ كَانُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ. They did wrong to themselves. Why? إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَكَفُورٌ. Because if we don't reinforce and remind ourselves what we have, the tendency within us is to be ungrateful. And number 2 is what I call the cocoon effect. They felt they had everything because they only knew that in their surroundings. Our Quran teaches us a great lesson of Musa alayhi salam. Musa alayhi salam is from ulul azmi min ar-rusul. He's from the great prophets. He was Kalimullah. He spoke to Allah. But one day when he was asked who is the most knowledgeable person, under the context that he spoke to Allah, that he conversed with Allah, he said, I am. And Allah told him, no, you're not. There's someone else known as Khidr. And what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell him? Go and find him. I.e., break out of your cocoon, break out of your zone and go and explore. That's why in our Quran 7 times is commanded, Siru fil ard. Go and travel the earth so that you can remind yourself of the blessings that you and I take for granted, how truly those are great blessings bestowed upon us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. History, my dear friends, is being repeated in front of our own eyes. We had everything. Alhamdulillah, thumma alhamdulillah, we had everything. We could send our kids to schools in the wee hours of the morning, and they could come back in the evening. They could walk to school or go on a bus, and we don't even know the name of the bus driver. And we were comfortable. We could send our sisters to the grocery stores at any time, and we were comfortable. We had it all going right. But we became negligent. We became complacent. And indirectly, we became ungrateful. So this is happening in front of us as we speak. Now, how can you and I do something to stop this from happening? We don't want a time that people tomorrow, your children or your grandchildren will say, they had it all and they lost it. Rather, we want them to say they had it, they acknowledged it, they preserved it, and they made sure that we took it from there forward. But how could that happen? First of all, understand how grave of a matter this is to you and I, and how great of a role that you and I play in the making or breaking of this. We turn to Surah number 33, verse number 72. In which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly defines how great of a role you play on this earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Inna aradna al-amanata ala as-samawati wal-ardi wal-jibal. Verily we presented trust to the heavens, the earth, and to the mountains. Now what's this trust? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this entire creation, the entire universe, as He states in His book, in 6 days. But He also states four of those 6 days were spent here on this earth, which we call home. And He wanted to ensure that its utilization and its purpose is upheld. That we use it and not abuse it. That we uphold it and preserve prosperity and peace and happiness on this earth. So Allah had to leave it in the hands of someone who could take care of it. So He asked the heavens. فَأَبَيْنَ أَن يَحْمِلْنَهَا. The creation of Allah, the sky, said, oh Allah, sorry, no. Not because they wanted to be disobedient. وَأَشْفَقَنَ مِنْهَا. We can't take it up. It's too big of a responsibility. Allah asked the earth. The land said the same thing. Oh Allah, we can't do it. Allah asked the mightiful, prestigious, these mountains, these glorious, massive mountains, would you take on the trust of ensuring that this earth is good? Oh Allah, we can't. وَحَمَلَهَا الْإِنسَانِ. Human beings said, oh Allah, give it to us. Oh Allah, give it to us. Now you could sit here and tell me, I didn't say that, and I don't know who said it, but I could tell you, it's hereditary. It was taken from us, and we're going to continue to acknowledge that this obligation is yours, it's mine, it's ours. We today, as a nation, as a ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, are failing. And we are following in the track of the people of Musa and the people of Saba. Question is, where did we go wrong in this trust? Where did we go wrong in this trust? The 2 preceding verses laid out clearly where we went wrong. We go back to verse number 69 of the same surah, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu, la takunu kalladhina adhaw Musa. Ra'ahu Allahu mimma qalu. Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, this is in a hadith recorded by Imam Bukhari, that the people of Musa alayhi salam were very shameless people. They would bathe together nude. And Musa alayhi salam had haya. He had shame. So he would always cover himself up. And they would talk amongst themselves. You know, Musa alayhi salam, he's scared of showing something's wrong with his body. And there's 2 narrations. You could go and read it. One day Musa alayhi salam was taking a bath alone by the river. And he put his clothing and his garments under the rock. When he completed and came out, the rock picked up his clothes and started to run. Musa alayhi salam is naked. And he's running behind this rock saying, oh rock, my clothing. Oh rock, my clothing. Where are you going with it? And he ends up in the market in front of those people who smeared him, who taunted him, who made fun of him, who accused him. فَبَرَّأَهُ اللَّهُ مِمَّا قَالُوا. Allah ensured that He set the record straight. Put this in perspective. Today, my dear friends, we have become so personal on one another when it comes to religion. We are ready to call the other one a kafir, to put the other one down, to make ourselves better than the other, to say I'm going to heaven and I don't know where you're going, to make ourselves divided in sects, in school of thoughts, in walks of life, in cultures. We become personal with our institutions and the people of our religion. We become critical of the words of our religion. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, la takunu kalladhina adhaw Musa. Don't make the same mistake that they did, Musa alayhi salam, because Allah will intervene and Allah will prove who's right. Your job is to ensure that there's love and unity as an ummah, not division and discord as an ummah. Number 2, where we went wrong in trust. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha wa qulu qawlan sadida. All you who believe, fear Allah and speak upright. It is a time for us. This is the time where we have to stand erect and we have to represent the truth of what Islam is. And we have to set the narrative of Islam straight. We have to. No one's going to do it for us. And that will come from reinforcing those values, what Islam stands for, and reminding one another continuously. Why so? Because this Kalimullah, Musa alayhi salam, went up to the mountain for 40 nights to get the revelation. And when he came back down, the people already made a golden calf their God. Why? Because you never told us. How do we expect that Islam will become strong in the next generation if we don't remind each other what the essence of Islam is about? And unless we reinforce those values which make a Muslim a Muslim. As Rasulullah said, "Bu'ithtu li'utammima makarim al-akhlaq." I have been sent for the perfection of moral conduct. Our Islam is our actions and how we deal with Allah and how we deal with His creation. So just to summarize, we're entering into a new year. And we know 2016 wasn't a good year. And we know that when we take things for granted, what happens to us. And we also were told how great of a responsibility you as an individual and I as an individual have in making or breaking the future of this world. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unite our hearts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us one again. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to look beyond those intricacies and leave them to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and restore the goodness of Islam. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. So my dear brothers and sisters, I think we could draw up a conclusion that we need to restore goodness amongst us. Just say we start doing that right now. Just say we start looking beyond our cultural lines and all the other lines that we've created. And we become a harmonious people once again. Just say we remind one another and reinforce those values of goodness. We're too behind the game. We're too far behind. Because what we're up against is so much more powerful and stronger than we are. It's not about numbers, it's about the impact. So you could say, well, it makes sense what you're saying, but it's too late. Take solace in the next verse of this surah, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that if you do these things, يُصْلِحْ لَكُمْ أَعْمَالَكُمْ وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will rectify your actions. What does this entail? Today we are screaming out loud, Muslims aren't terrorists. Muslims aren't evil people. We share the same dreams as you do. We want the same things in the life that you do. But it's falling on deaf ears. And we're investing great time and money to happen, but it's not happening. Take solace in this verse. When you fix what you need to fix, Allah will make your affairs such that you will say one word and resonate across the globe. You will make one action of goodness and it will ricochet across the globe. Why? Because Allah is now in control. You put your matters right, Allah is going to make sure things happen right. Remember one thing, my dear friends. History is only repeated when we move backwards. History is recorded when we move forward. Our deen has told us to ensure history is recorded, not repeated. That we learn from the mistakes and we move forward together stronger, not backwards. So for this, as an ummah, in the last hours of this year, we need to make a resolution. We need to make a resolution that we're going to stand firm and united for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our goal is to please Allah and not to please anyone else. Our goal is to ensure that values are restored of goodness, so that the trust that has been entrusted to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taken care of. So we could say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tomorrow when we go back, "Oh Allah, I tried my best to leave the world in a better position than I got it." But for that, we need two more things with your azam. With your niyyah and your effort, we need two more things. Number one, we need to ensure on a grassroots level that our institutions and our masajid are living up to the needs of the moment. And that's what I'm here for. For not too far from here, 10 miles from your west, is a masjid that needs you today. And I'll talk about this after the khutbah. Please give me a few minutes of your time after the khutbah. We'll be ending in a few seconds. We need to spend financially and contribute our time towards ensuring that our representation and our bodies are strong, so that through these institutions and through these masajid, we can represent goodness across the globe. And lastly, we need to turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the doer, the maker, the Fatir as-samawati wal-ard, that He is on our side as we do this. We send salutations and blessing upon Muhammad and Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself says in the Holy Quran, "Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi, ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima, Allahumma fasalli wa sallim wa barik ala sayyidina Muhammad, abdika wa rasulika an-nabiy al-ummi, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa baraka wa sallama tasliman kathiran kathira. Allahumma alif bayna qulubina, Allahumma alif bayna qulubina, wa aslih dhata baynina, wa ahdina subul as-salam, وجنبنا الفواحش ما ظهر منها وما بطن. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وإسرافنا في أمرنا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. اللهم اشف مرضانا وعاف مبتلانا وارحم موتانا يا رب العالمين. آمين يا رب العالمين. آمين يا رب العالمين. آمين يا رب العالمين. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله يذكركم ودعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. Please ensure that our lines are shoulder to shoulder. The edge of on the edge of the line. Please ensure the line in front of us is complete from both sides. Form a second line.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
حق لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله الله أكبر.